A lot of rap conspiracies are fun. Like, reptilians run the music industry, rappers are cloned on the regular, Jay-Z is a time traveler, etc., etc. Memphis Rap Sigils, however, is perhaps the most horrifying concept on the entire rap conspiracy iceberg. This one has rumors of everything. Hidden gateways to hell, murder energy, worship of Egyptian gods, and even the West Memphis 3 killings. But even without the sigils, Memphis rap is pretty horrifying. In New York, they chopped up the Isley Brothers records to make a beat. In Memphis, they would take the sounds of women screaming from horror movies and snuff films and make a banger out of it. It's music made for wandering around the graveyard at 3 a.m. with a few tall cans of Steel Reserve. Not exactly the type of music you want to put on when someone hands you the aux cord. The 2018 documentary Welcome to Hell on YouTube is worth watching to get a better idea. The music had an evil sound to it, so naturally rumors spread that the people behind it were involved with occult activity and devil worship. This is nothing new in Memphis, a place long rumored to be an epicenter for dark arts. In his amazing NWO documentary, Coopsta, Word I Can't Say, rest in peace, 3 6 Mafia tells a story of going to downtown Memphis to do the cover shoot for their horrifying debut album, Mystic Styles. The cover itself features Coopsta hung on a cross wearing some creepy eyes wide shut type mask. While recording, they found a creepy warehouse across the street from the video shoot. When they walked in, they saw a bunch of white dudes wearing robes doing weird spooky shit. He mentions they even had some type of weird altar. You can go all the way back to the 1800s for stories of the heritage of hoodoo in Memphis. But where did the idea of Memphis Rap Sigils truly start? Like most good conspiracies, you can trace its origins back to 4chan. Looking back through the X archives, the first time you see the idea of Memphis Rap Sigils starts in around August of 2017. The first appearance just so happens to be on an early version of one of the conspiracy theory icebergs. The image/thread appears to be the first time the specific phrase Memphis Rap Sigils is used online. It didn't hit Google Trends until December. A few replies to the thread, someone asked about the meaning of the mysterious sigils. The thread was talking about the conspiracy theory iceberg. Someone help me out on some of these. Simpsons is real footage. Original doll. What about the Britney Spears album that never became as a conspiracy? Door dogs. Grabblers. This is an onion meme about Jews. What about it? Stab wound. I'm not saying that. Memphis Rap Sigils. Empty internet. .nyc. Michigan Blue Hell Human Zoo. World War III happened in 1995. No shit, Randy Savage won the first 60-man battle royale there. Anon also mentioned they were a big Memphis rap fan, so they were interested in knowing about the rap sigils, and posted a picture of one of Tommy Wright's III's albums on as an image for the post. The guy only got a handful of responses. One dude mentioned that Memphis rap music has occult ties. Not exactly breaking news. Another anon linked to a podcast from Illuminati member, researcher Isaac Weishaupt. The podcast, I'm probably mispronouncing that too, my bad, my apologies. The podcast features William Ramsey, an expert on the West Memphis 3 murders. Ramsey is convinced these murders were occult in nature, essentially some sort of sacrifice made to the lords of the underworld. More on that later. After that first thread on X, more posts started popping up asking questions specifically about the sigils. YouTube link. Both of these tapes, if you can find the originals, have what you're looking for. The idea is sort of that because the artists-producers committed several murders and the location where they took place holds a lot of leftover, soul, energy, from the lives that were taken. The lingering energy of known tragedies in the area goes back as far as the history of the United States with some big Indian massacres, then on to slavery, then Civil War. And then about 100 years more of violence until you get to the 1990s, where Memphis was within the top 5 murder capitals in the country, I believe. Basically, if you believe the Luciferian idea that it's possible to take a life and manifest that energy into something that becomes real in a sort of ritual, there would be some kind of medium between the spirit world and the world we know to be true. The life energy / the death energy / the demon / the magnetic taping in a cassette. Schizophrenic rambling from an insane man. In this post, he links Hellraiser by Maniac, YouTube link. I'm also probably going to be playing it in the background while I speak, and the full Going Undercover mixtape from Little Ramsey. This is where the most commonly understood interpretation of Memphis Rap Sigils is first introduced, capturing the soul energy released by murdering a human being on a cassette recording in a Luciferian ritual. Perhaps this energy could then be used as an ingredient in chaos magic and or sigil creation. See where we're going? So, the excerpt from Wikipedia says, Chaos magic, also spelled chaos magic with a K, is a contemporary magical practice. It was initially developed in England in the 1970s, drawing heavily from the philosophy of artist and occultist Austin Osman Spare, sometimes referred to as success magic or results-based magic. Chaos magic claims to emphasize the attainment of specific results over the symbolic, realistic, theological, or otherwise ornamental aspects of other occult tradition. Chaos magic is built around an experimental DIY approach that involves stripping all magical and techniques down to their barest essence. Any practice from any magical tradition can be incorporated under the banner of chaos magic. From satanic ritual to Wiccan Sabbats to energy healing to tantric practices, etc., etc. Interesting. Now, we get to this of the sigils. In modern usage, especially in the context of chaos magic, sigils refers to a symbolic representation of the practitioner's outcome. In the medieval era, a sigil was a symbol associated with a particular angel or demon, which could be used to ritually summon the relevant being. Once the sigil is created, it must be charged with energy. From House of Intuition says, the final step to the sigil, filling the symbol with the necessary energy to accomplish the task. The symbol of your desire is just a symbol until you charge it. Whether you call this charging energy ki, prana, mana, or the force, you can manipulate it with your attention. So now we have the basic recipe for how to create a Memphis Rap Sigil. Murder somebody, record it, chop up the audio and sample it, return to the murder scene, rap with your buddies over the murder beat, put it on a mixtape, sigil created, sell the mixtape, people listen to it, sigil charged, ? Profit. From there, whatever they wish now has enough energy to manifest itself into reality. In other words, every time you listen to one of these recordings, it's powering up some sort of fucked up sigil created by an evil rap wizard. If the sigil's purpose was for fortune and fame, then its creator would immediately become rich and powerful. This add-on sums up the idea nicely. Memphis is a regional hotbed of occultism, according to some sources. It's named after Memphis, Egypt, and has several landmarks which pay homage to its namesake. Per the Memphis Rap Sigils, they ritually murdered some people in the name of Satan. That apparently made them rich and famous for a few years. Even if 3-6 Mafia isn't directly involved, their name is a direct reference to what happened. 3-6 Mafia became really famous really fast and then fell into obscurity within a short amount of time. So even if you don't believe any of the stuff about Memphis rappers, you have to wonder if similar things are happening with pop stars and other famous musicians. Ever wonder why we never really see video footage of hit songs being recorded in the studio? So what if this power was used for something other than just selling records and obtaining fame? Is it possible to use this evil charged energy for more sinister purposes? Like hexing your rivals and cursing those who stand in your way? By simply listening to certain music, are we accidentally partaking in some sort of demonic worship? Alright, going back to X, more information started coming up in the months after the concept was first mentioned. Post. Memphis Rap Sigils refers to the worship of 8 tracks that had mysterious properties imbued into them via horrorcore Memphis hip-hop, such as my copy of, a word I can't say, of Destruction. This is the first time we hear of 8 specific tracks. There isn't 100% consensus, but generally agreed upon that these are the 8 sigils of Memphis rap. Number 1, 10 Wanted Men, Four Corners, Part 3. Number 2, Children of the Corn, Deep in the Woods. 3, Maniac, Hellraiser. 4, Lil Ramsey, Magnolia, aka Down with Magnolia, featuring Tommy Wright. The 3rd, Respect on His Name. 5, HOH, Outro. 6, NOD. 7. Mr. Tinnymane, Last Man Standing, and 8. Psycho, Welcome to the Graveyard. It could be misinterpretation of someone not understanding 8 tracks and cassettes being a separate thing, but that's the 8 that are generally agreed upon. So, a wise fellow on YouTube named Romantis Anon claims the following. For those who want a quick and easy reference to the supposed sigils, these 5 rappers are generally agreed upon to have tapes that contain chop samples of the murder / are the sigils. NOD, in their 1996 album, NOD, Maniac, more specifically in Hellraiser from his 1994 tape, The World of a Psycho, Lil Ramsey in his 1994 tape, Going Undercover, HOH, Halls of Hell in their 1994 tape, Living in a Casket. Apparently playing this one backwards has mysterious consequences, yada yada yada. Psycho, his 1995 tape, The Return of Psycho. These next few are also said to contain sigil samples, but they are not as widely agreed upon. I've arranged them in order most likely to contain the sigil to least likely based on the different testimonies I've read. Word I can't say exactly which tape or track is claimed to be a sigil, I don't know. I have heard that the sigil track was released sometime in 1995. It is said the supposed sigil track can be heard in the compilation tape Demons Taking Over Me. Children of Corn, either in the 1994 The Single tape or in the 1996 track Which Way Should I Go? DJ Fella, in his 1995 tape Word I Can't Say Don't Die Part 1. Black Hole Posse, more specifically in Mind of a Killer from the 1996 album Sounds of the Murder. According to rumors, most available versions of these songs don't contain the murder imagery, but the originals supposedly have them. Another key aspect is mentioned here though. If you listen to any of these songs on Spotify or YouTube, it doesn't count. You have to listen to the original cassette recordings in order for it to work. This is tricky, because most of the tapes had extremely limited pressings, so most copies are either lost to history or worn out and unplayable at this point. Occasionally, supposed copies of tapes, of the original tapes, pop up on eBay. If you buy one, good luck. Based on the available info, it seems that the original copies of some or all of these tapes are what constitutes the Memphis Rap Sigil. So what happens if one person collected the original versions of all 8? Is it like some diabolical version of Dragon Ball Z? A huge evil dragon pops out of your 40 and grants you any wish you want? Or can the power only be harnessed by the original creator of the sigil? To this day, we're still getting more info theories regarding the sigils. Here's one from earlier this year. Post. Some will say this is just an aesthetic, regardless of 3-6 admitting to doing rituals themselves. This thing came around the same way rappers rap about money and clothes, just in Memphis it was the devil and murder. Memphis has long been known as an interesting area. You can look up things like the Memphis Pyramid or the West Memphis 3. Around the time of 93 is when things are supposed to get sort of paranormal. This is when the Memphis Inner Circle was formed. It was rumored to be made up of around 30 people who were local artists and producers. It was said to be made of people from Whitehaven, Frazier, and Orange Mound, all of which are neighborhoods in Memphis. Profit Entertainment and Street Smart Records are 2 labels which are said to mostly build up the Inner Circle roster. Furthermore, there are a few tales of back in the day concerning groups like the COC and the Bat Tower in Florida Keys, also the West Memphis 3 and 10 Dead Men. I should probably add about Tommy Wright and Four Corners. In many of Tommy's tracks he's produced, he has references to the Four Corners. In interviews, he stated that the Four Corners was a place which he and his friends hung out at. It was somewhere in Whitehaven, Memphis. When described, the location takes up around 5 blocks, with most of it being suburbs or main streets. I want to take a look at another possible meaning for Four Corners. A crossroad, for instance, has 4 corners. I've heard some reference to this in the West Memphis 3, but that road is a little obvious. I will, however, mention that Tommy's 4 corner references began in 1993, shortly after the West Memphis 3. 4 corners can also be seen in regards to Ezekiel 7:2, which is often used for reference to the hour of doom in the Bible, the coming of the end. Demons like Kaifu or Murmur are are also known to travel the crossroads and offer deals in exchange for worship. Some claim that's who Juice or XXX was in contact with. There was a thread on this a couple of days ago where someone alleged that they worked with someone in the Memphis rap scene. This anon claimed to have called him up and asked him about it. The context said that the bigger acts in Memphis, like 3 6, would place the master copies of their album in a pentagram, chant, and perform rituals and shit. This was to imbue the music with a chaotic energy that would inspire negative energy/violence and whatnot in the listener. Charging the music gave it an allure, notoriety, in turn giving them more hype/success. The contact got out of the Memphis scene for those reasons. When these threads pop up, there's also stories of some of these tracks being recorded over recently slain people to imbue the master tapes with some sort of spiritual residue. Some people believe that the Memphis 3 murder case is related to this idea. And then there's the testimony of Coops, the word I can't say, saying he ran into a violent cult ritual committed by Memphis elites when he was a teenager, and the black-robed individuals who welded a metal box containing a crystal skull to the top of the Memphis Pyramid in 1991. So speaking of 3 6 Mafia, they are easily the most popular and integral part of the Memphis rap scene, yet none of their music is involved with the Sigils. Juicy J remains an incredibly popular and successful figure to this day. Coincidence? Dead Rabbit Radio, respect on his name, one of my favorite podcasts, has one hell of a take on the concept. It stems from a strange post on X in July of 2018. Post. What's up with Memphis rap? Did 3 bands really summon the god from the fourth corner over the spirits of these 3 sacrificed children? Are there really gateways to hell in Memphis? And if all of this is true, which are the bands who participated and which albums aligned to form the sigil, and how is it accessed and utilized? Schizophrenic ramblings of an insane man. So the basic rundown is something like this. Memphis, Tennessee gets its name from the ancient Egyptian capital. They worship Ptah, the creator god who existed before all other things. The fourth corner refers to a location west of Memphis. The West Memphis 3 murders were ritualistic sacrifices to Ptah or some other deity. The murders were sampled and then mixed into certain songs to create the sigils. They admit there's no real evidence, but now the theory. Other rumors exist that the murders used for sigils actually took place at the Sugarloaf Bat Tower in the South Florida Keys. Post. At the Bat Tower in South Florida Keys, a useless invention made for bats that never came. They summoned him there. It was an esoteric road trip via key lines. The children of the corn were there. Their song, Deep Into the Woods, contained samples of screams from the victims sacrificed under the Bat Tower. It's unclear, but this user may be referring to the string of satanic murders that happened in Monroe County, Florida in the late 80s. 2 of the victims had their hearts cut out and stolen, and they still haven't found the killers. From the Miami Herald. Published August 13, 1989. Sherry Parasho slept under the stars in a little green dinghy. She talked about the magic of Saturn. She said she had the power to make rain. Everyone in these once heavenly keys called her the Rainmaker. Then, on the night after a full moon, someone from hell, lunatic or Satanist, snatched the Rainmaker's soul. A killer slit her throat, cut open her chest, and stole her heart. The murder of Sherry Parasho, 39, a high school beauty queen from Illinois, is the 3rd unsolved homicide of a female along this 10-mile string of rural coral rock barrier islands, Big Pine, Little Torch, and No Name, within a year. One of the other victims, like Parasho, had a missing heart. And some people in these keys, usually laid back and relaxed, are very, very frightened. The consistent story is that the murders were something to do with a satanic cult connected to drug shipments, said Nancy Banks, 37, a bartender. So what do you think? Do you think these dudes were just LARPing as Satanists in order to sell a few records, or was there something truly sinister going on in Memphis? Were a few of these rappers actually deeply in tune with the infinite powers of chaos magic? How much of an effect can music really have on us? If music can be used for evil purposes like this, is there also a counterbalancing force with good? Who knows how deep this rabbit hole really goes? If you wish to understand the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla. So, thanks to xfilesofrap at blogspot.com for writing this article in 2020. This managed to capture a lot of what I wanted to talk about for the Memphis Rap Sigils. Our waffles will be done in a moment, but thanks for letting me ramble. Good night.